Hello, everyone. Welcome to Arizona Teachers of English to Speakers of Other Languages, AZTESOL. Today is our professional development opportunity, and we have Dr. Delphina JOYce, Messenger of Joy, myself, who will be presenting today a joy opportunity and how do you have joy in stressful times. Before we dive in, let's look at AZTESOL. AZTESOL reflects the unique multicultural landscape of Arizona, where educators from diverse backgrounds come together to support students from countless linguistic and cultural communities. AZTSOL's mission and vision is to advance professional excellence in English language teaching through advocacy, professional development, research, and collaboration among educators, administrators, and community advocates serving linguistically diverse learners in Arizona. Our core values are educational equity and access, cultural and linguistic diversity, professional growth, and collaboration. We are also rooted in evidence-based practices. How do we serve individuals? AZTSOL serves specifically English as a second language teachers, administrators, teacher candidates, and community partners. We have professional opportunities through our annual conference that will be coming up in October. We have regional workshops in each of our 4 areas in the state of Arizona, and we also have online learning. So if you can't be a part of this opportunity live, that's okay. This is a recorded event, and it will be available after the session. So let's dive into today's professional development. Joy Journey Options You Choose is providing professional development today on how to have joy in difficult and stressful times. The reality that we are facing in education and across the nation is that as we step into this new year, many individuals are carrying invisible burdens. And these burdens affect their own well-being. But learning experiences are also being affected by the individuals that are supporting in those classrooms. And students are affected by the support that they receive from their teachers and educators. So this is why it's so important to dive into how do we work with workplace burnout. Some of the ways that workplace burnout shows is by emotional exhaustion. Have you ever been exhausted? You're just so tired. Even though you went to sleep early, you wake up tired. Chronic stress. Imagine being in a classroom where you're dealing with challenging behaviors consistently every day. And your adrenal gland is on hyper mode because you are experiencing hardships in your environment. This burnout can also create reduced motivation. Been there, done that. I have lost motivation. What about you? Have you experienced that? Have you experienced compassion fatigue? Compassion fatigue is where you might say something like, oh, welcome to my world. I'm exhausted too. Or something of that magnitude. Workplace burnout shows itself in these 4 ways and other ways. How might these challenges be showing up in your work with students? Take a moment to consider that. How are these challenges, these actual showings of burnout, showing up in your work with students? And if you'd like, share it in the chat, please. Thank you. You're right. These challenges directly influence instructional effectiveness, particularly for multilingual learners who depend on our presence as the educator, as the leader in that room for facilitating learning. And students depend on us for our emotional availability. Can we handle? Do we have the emotional capacity to handle that student who's scared, who's crying, who doesn't have the language facility to engage in the learning? Do we have that emotional availability? And when we are highly stressed and emotionally taxed, we don't have the same amount of support available to help others. Joy and awareness is important. When we're running on empty, our capacity to create responsive, culturally sustaining learning environments becomes compromised. Why? Because we just don't have it in us to give. Our well is empty. Today's session offers a research-informed pathway forward. We are going to dive into practical strategies for restoring balance, reclaiming purpose, and cultivating resilience needed to sustain this important work that you all are doing. Understanding the impact of stress. How many of you deal with stress? Well, stress causes many challenges within oneself and within the environment. So, in regards to our teaching presence, chronic stress diminishes our ability to be fully present with our students. It impedes our responsiveness to the needs of learners, and it also creates a cognitive load. When we're overwhelmed, our decision-making capacity is compromised. And that means that when we are stressed, our classrooms, the energy that we give off, the presence that we share creates ripple effects throughout the classroom. So students, especially navigating language acquisition, are highly attuned to our emotional states and internalize the climate we project. Did you know? Here's a little research that's important to understand because sometimes we hear things, we're like, is that true or is that not true? 44% of K-12 teachers report feeling burned out often or always. That's from a Gallup 2024. Teacher stress is linked to higher rates of student suspensions and office discipline referrals. That's from the University of Missouri in 2020. And teacher burnout is associated with worse academic achievement and lower quality student motivation. That comes from the International Journal of Educational Research in 2021. And lastly, 86% of teachers reported their job adversity impacted their mental health. That was an NEA survey in 2024. And NEA is the National Education Association. Just a little research that supports stress and the challenges that we deal with as educators. So, research confirms what we intuitively already know, that educator well-being isn't separate from student success. I remember when I was working for a school district and I had talked about educator well-being, and this was before 2020 and COVID hit. And I remember saying it was really important to take care of our educators and support them because they have a really challenging job. They're handling emotions from 20 plus students in their classroom and dealing with academic information that they are teaching. And I remember being told, no, it's all about the students. But the truth of the matter is, educator well-being is the foundation to student success. And if we can acknowledge that, be aware of that, and actually support our educators with holistic wellness, our academic achievement will improve. The Joy Foundation impact, when we prioritize our own restoration, we create the conditions for authentic learning and outcomes. What does that look like? Let's dive into a joy wellness routine. This is called Joy Pause and Reflect. Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. Put your comments and your questions in the chat, and I would love to engage in the chat with you. This is called the Joy Pause and Reflect routine. There are 4 steps. The first step is to pause and you stop and acknowledge where you are in this moment. The second is to notice, what are you feeling? What does your body need? And 3, you choose and select one small action that serves you right now, that will serve your well-being right now. And 4, you act. Take the step, no matter how small, to take care of your wellness. Let's actually practice this and experience this. All right, so pause. I want you to pause, stop, and acknowledge, where are you in this moment? Notice what you're feeling. What does your body need? What does stress feel like in your body right now? Let's take a moment. All right, put it in the chat. Share your reflections. What do you know? Oh, you're feeling anxious. You're feeling relieved because your workday is over. Love it, love it. You're feeling challenged because you still got to go home, make dinner, and do those things. You're feeling stressed because you have a test that students have to do well on. Thank you. I appreciate you pausing and noticing how you're feeling and what does your body need. When we are dealing with our body, our spirit, our mind, our emotion, and our actual physical body, it's really important to acknowledge what dimension of yourself, of your whole being, needs attention. And in joy, journey options you choose, the frameworks that I work with are always holistic, and they deal with spirit, mind, heart, and body. Spirit has to do with your sense of purpose, your meaning, your connection. Mind has to do with your thoughts, your learning, your mental agility. Heart has to deal with emotions, your relationship, your compassion, self-compassion, self-love. And body has to do with your physical energy, your physical health, your muscle resistance, your movement, your activity. It's all your physical being. And within the joy uh, system, joy success system, we have different frameworks for each of these areas that has knowledge, skills, strategies, and tools that we provide. Understanding which dimension needs support helps you to prioritize where you need to focus your attention and your energy. Because if you do a deep-seated dive, you may think one thing, but when you actually meditate on it, reflect on it, you can discover a deeper core understanding. And oh, you got to join me because when I do some personal stories, I share some of the deep learning and diving that I've done in a personal reflection throughout my life and my career in 30 years in education. So I hope that you come back and join me in joy. Let's look at number three. Number three is what's one small thing you can do for yourself today? So for the person who put in there that they're a little stressed because they have a test that's coming up that their students need to pass because it's high stakes, what's one small thing you could do for yourself today? I love it. Love it. Yes, you can go home, get a hot tea, rest. You can release the stress and the idea that you can actually control the performance that is to come. You can accept and acknowledge that you've done your absolute best to prepare your students for this upcoming assessment, and you can trust that they're going to do their best. Thank you. I appreciate you sharing what one small thing is you could do for yourself today. And the last step is number four, is to act, to take that step, no matter how small. So the person who said they want to go home and have a warm beverage and just relax, do it. The person who said that they want to get to the gym and release some stress, do it. Number four is to act. Take that small step, no matter how small. All right, let's dive in. Let's dive into what is a joy mindset. We know that mindset has to do with your thoughts, your beliefs, and how you respond to those things. And we know that there's limiting beliefs and there's abundant beliefs and there's types of limiting beliefs. So let's learn a little bit about the joy mindset because your mindset matters. What you think goes to how you feel results in behaviors. So your thoughts create actions that is a cycle. So the joy mindset is an integrated framework that deals with the four dimensions that I highlighted: spirit, mind, heart, and body. And this is not about being toxic positivity where, oh, yes, everything is great and I ignore my hardship. And reality is reality. We walk into a classroom, our role is to support this classroom of students, and sometimes it's really hard when we are face to face with students that don't necessarily speak the same language as we do. Or it can be hard when you're working with your colleagues and you don't see eye to eye and how to handle things. So the joy mindset is not about faking it. The joy mindset is about intentional choices. It's about making choices that actually honor your challenges and you offer yourself personal growth and self leadership development. The joy mindset provides knowledge, skills, strategies, and practical tools that can be implemented, allowing daily practices and the opportunity for sustained joy. Because joy is sustainable. It is an intentional decision. And when you learn the skills, the knowledge, and you have the strategies and the tools that you can implement, then you can handle difficult situations that are high pressured and still sustain your joy. The joy mindset is all rooted in the joy mindset competency quadrant. And what this means is that how you show up in the moment defines how you are operating. You could be operating from a restricted mindset, which is low joy, low skills. And it means that you're unaware of how your mindset limits your joy. An example of this might be like, my job sucks and I can't get anything better. I can't do anything better. That is a restricted mindset. An awakening mindset has to do with high joy, but low skills. This means that you recognize the value of joy, but you struggle to practice it consistently. You're learning, you're awake, you understand different things, but you're learning new skills on how to handle high pressure, difficult situations. The natural mindset is low joy but high skills. This is an individual that falls back on rules and compliance, but really lacks the awareness of how to sustain joy. They know how to experience joy, but they don't know how to sustain it. And the joy mindset is high joy, high skills. This is fully embodied joy with intentional resilience and purpose. And another way of looking at it is through this quadrant. And you can see here where we have, this is the 4 square quadrant. Many of you in education have seen this before, where you have low joy and high joy. You have low agency and high agency, because joy is journey options you choose. It's all about your personal agency and it's all about your free will. And so you can see right here each of the quadrants and what needs to happen in order to progress from one quadrant to the other. So you would progress from the restricted to the awakening to the natural to the joy. And you know, the beauty is that individuals can be anywhere in this spectrum in any given moment. So the goal is to help individuals learn how to embody the joy mindset and to naturally operate with high joy and high skill. So where does this research come from? So this research comes from neuroscience, mindfulness research, and then of course we have our language acquisition research that shows learners who have high anxiety are inhibiting their learners. So the joy mindset, I wanted to put the language acquisition because we're talking about that specifically, but the joy mindset is rooted in neuroscience, mindfulness, as well as strength-based coaching. And some of you who have seen the work of Carol Dweck in growth mindset, it's also got positive psychology in it as well. So how do we create sustainable joy? When we're looking at the 4 areas, we're looking at how I said the purpose, the clarity in thinking, emotional regulation. We have tools for that, compassion for self and other, and then honoring what your body actually needs. I love the person who said, I want to go home and just have a hot tea. Salud! And cheers! I needed some water. So let's look at the joy 60-second reset. The 60-second reset has to do with 5 steps. You sit comfortably and you place one hand on your heart. You breathe in slowly through your nose for a count of 4 seconds. You hold that count gently and then you exhale through your mouth for 6 counts. You repeat this 3 times, noticing any shifts in your body. You can do this in many places under high stress moments. It takes less than a minute. It's a 60-second. And you know, if you added 4 plus 4 plus 6, even if you just do it one time, it's under a minute. So let's go ahead and let's experience this. Let's try this real quick here. Ready? Sit comfortably. Place one hand on your heart. Got my hand on my heart. And you are going to breathe in slowly through your nose for 4 counts. And now you repeat the same thing 3 times. Even after doing it 2 times, I can already feel a difference in my body, in my energy, and in my emotion. Share in the chat, if you will, something that you noticed about doing the Joy 60-second reset. Thank you. Yes, it does help you feel more relaxed. Yes, I like that. I like the way someone said it makes me feel like I'm done. Yes, you're done for the day. Thank you so much for doing the 60-second reset. Let's dive into why does this matter for you? Because you all deal with a challenging workload, and this matters to you because it goes deep into your why. So, what brought you into education? What was your original why? So, I came into education because I naturally loved teaching. And I didn't know I was going to be a teacher when I was younger, but I was naturally teaching people. I came into a position and a place where I just loved helping people. And I felt so grateful that I had the innate drive to just love people and support people. And I learned the skill of how to teach and how to be a better educator. So my original why was rooted in I love feeling good. And I feel good when I am serving and supporting others. And my skills and my talents are rooted in education, facilitating, and teaching. That's my original why. You share, what's your original why? I love that. Yes, you're putting in the chat. Your original why is because you just wanted to be a teacher. I love that. I love that. You used to play, and when you played, you were a teacher. Oh, okay. You get the summers off. That's in some cases that's true, in other cases not so true. But awesome. Thank you. Let's take a look at moving deeper into your why. Why do you feel most alive and purposeful in your work? When? When does that happen? For me, I feel most alive and purposeful in my work when I witness the impact of what I do. So let me give you an example. When I was teaching kindergarten, I had a student who I didn't realize had actually repeated the kindergarten 2 years, and he was with me for his third year. I had no idea that this was the case until I dove into the file, and then I could see that, right? So I felt most alive and purposeful when I had the opportunity to meet his mom, and this student could draw the most elaborate, beautiful pictures, and they had so much detail to them. And the student would share his stories when he was doing his journaling. And I remember feeling challenged because for uh, no matter how much I tried and I did different teaching modalities, this student struggled to grasp um, the sound symbol correspondence. He couldn't remember that was an M. And the mom that he had such a supportive parent, and she would work with them and do all these things. Well, I felt so alive and purposeful in my work because I asked to have additional testing for this student so that we could define what was happening. And it felt so good, and I felt so alive because when the student got tested, he had the opportunity to learn, and I had the opportunity to learn that he was struggling with a learning disability that was happening within his the neural connections, and he had dyslexia, and I wouldn't have known that. I wasn't a specialist. I just knew, why can't I teach this student how to read? And so I felt so alive and so grateful when I was able to pull in other specialists and experts to help support the student because I loved and cared about the student so much. And there was no lack on his behalf. He wanted to learn. He did his best every day. He just had something inside his mind, learning disability, that was impeding him from getting what he actually needed. And so when we were able to get additional experts in the house and support him, he did much, much better. So what about you? Put it in the chat. Ah, I love it. You feel most alive and purposeful when you actually get to see the kids learn, when they light up. Yeah. When you get your paycheck. I love it. I love it. Thank you. Appreciate it. Thank you for putting your thoughts in the chat. And number three is, what would it look like to reconnect with that sense of purpose this semester? What would it look like for you to reconnect with your sense of purpose, your why? Why do you do this? Huh? Thank you for putting it in the chat. It would look like a reconnection to yourself. Oh, I love it. Would look like reconnection to your students. Yeah. And it would look like feeling like you're belong. Yeah, that you belong. I love it. Thank you so much for your vulnerability and for sharing. I appreciate that. Well, this is why having a strong why matters to your learners. Because remember, in the beginning, we talked about how you feel, your emotional capacity, your being, your whole being radiates and ripples energy within the field of that environment. And so students need safety first. Learners need emotional, safe environments to take risk and grow. And our regulated nervous system creates this essential foundation of safety. So imagine if you just got into a car accident and someone rear-ended you and you still had to get to class and you had to get to work and you're getting to work and you're frazzled in your mind and you're worried and like, oh my God, my insurance, now it's going to cost more money. And all that's happening. You're still going in and you're attempting to teach a math lesson. Where you are in your emotional being radiates, and students need safety first. So it's important to regulate your nervous system. And connection matters. Learning thrives within authentic relationships. So when individuals are grounded and present, we build connections that accelerate learning and belonging. Because when we feel safe, we articulate more, we feel connected more. And so we actually learn better because our mind is operating in the executive level, executive function, as opposed to the back of the mind where it's in a state of fear and frozen. So let's strengthen your joy. We had the opportunity to learn the 60-second reset, and now we're going to strengthen your joy. And the way we strengthen our joy is by modeling resilience. It's by our own personal resilience. When we are resilient and we can bounce back from setbacks and we can handle difficult situations, we demonstrate those healthy approaches to our challenges and change. We provide powerful modeling to our students while they're on their journey. And so how we handle stress ripples to our students. So here's some practical strategies for restoration. One, start with your breath. Place yourself in a peaceful moment by noticing and altering your breathing. I notice when I'm stressed, I go like this. Even when I'm sleeping, I have actually woken up and my hands are fisted like this and my shoulders are up like this. And I've said, whoa, even in my sleeping, I was a little stressed. So Okay. Create micro moments. Micro moments are a brief wellness practice that you do. It's not adding anything to your plate. It's just something, for example, maybe you take a moment of gratitude. So you're angry and you're struggling and you stop and you think, okay, what am I grateful for in this moment? I'm grateful because I can breathe. I'm grateful because I can see. I'm grateful because I have a job. I'm grateful because I get money and I can pay for my home, whatever it is. You take that moment to step back and be grateful in that moment. And just being grateful, that actual action of acknowledging what you are grateful for changes your energy and changes your mindset. You can also take a walk during your breaks, during your lunch. And I know I remember when I was teaching first grade, my sister would say, Sister, when I go to work, your car is there. When I come home, your car is there. And I remember having my recess time. And when I had recess time, I was still helping the kids. And so I remember getting into a place and point where I would actually walk around the playground while I was talking to the student, whether there was a challenge with discipline, because we were building relationship. And I was still walking to exercise and have my own moments of peace. Another way of restoring your peace and your sense of well-being is to set boundaries with compassion. So it's okay to say no. That's not a bad thing. To be selfish is when you are taking care of yourself. And in order to care for others, you have to be in a good place and position yourself. And they say when you get on an airplane, give yourself oxygen first, because if you pass out, you are not good to anybody. It's the same concept to set boundaries with compassion. And last, find your community. We are humans, and humans flourish in holistic connections, wholesome connections, because we are a communicative being. We thrive on connection, but we also need our own personal space and time. Okay, so when we can be with others, we can celebrate, and we're not always alone to navigate our challenges and our difficulties. Your next steps. Let's put into play the Joy Action Plan. Thank you. I appreciate you noting in the chat that you are resonating with this and this makes sense, and you appreciate. I know when I was a teacher, it was hard to get away and get a few moments. I know, I get it, because you're like in the middle of teaching, and when your body needs to, take a break to go to the restroom real quick, you might not be able to do that. That's why it's so important to create relationships and have that supportive system, because you can call someone, hey, I need a break. Can you just run it? And you have those opportunities. So thank you. I appreciate you talking about the reality of being an educator in the classroom, because there are many challenges, and we can create action steps and strategies to be able to handle these difficult situations. So here's our Joy Action Plan, your next steps. Choose one strategy from today that resonates most with you and make it concrete and achievable. So which strategy will you use? Will you use the 60-second reset? Will you do boundaries? Will you connect to someone for community? And when will you practice it? Create a specific time of day, location, some kind of trigger. Like the moment that I feel my shoulders going up, I'm going to automatically do the 60-second reset or something like that. And then how will you remember? So for me, I would naturally know, okay, I would get to class early. I knew the kids were going to get there at this time. And so I automatically had, I'm not kidding, I actually had, uh, now, it's so easy with our phone, but I had a timer. And I would turn my timer and I would give myself the time that I needed before the kids arrived in the classroom so that I could quickly make sure I got my water, make sure I went to the restroom, because once the kids got there, I'm on, right? And so I set it up so that I would make sure that I always took care of myself before I went into action with my students. And so that can happen by creating some kind of reminder or visual account. You can also do accountability partners. So let's build joy together. What does building joy together mean? It means that you are creating emotionally safe spaces. And one of the things that we know about students and about humans is that when we have predictable routines, consistency decreases our anxiety, especially when we're navigating new terrain. And affirming language, explicitly communicating, for example, mistakes are evidence of learning. So when we have a difficult situation, if we're going to create an emotionally safe space, and this has to do with our work environment and how we show up and how we help others to show up if they don't have the same skill set. And the last thing is cultural validation. And this is when we honor and incorporate a student's home language, their cultural knowledge and value that is valuable and it's an asset for our classroom. What does that have to do with us? It has to do with us that we have intentional practices rooted in emotional regulation and cultural responsiveness. How we show up matters. And there are things that we can do to help ourselves to be a better person that in return helps students to have those safe spaces. How do you know if your classroom is safe or your work environment is safe? Is you can do what's called a gallery walk. You look for the physical environment. What are students seeing, experiencing in your space? How do people communicate about mistakes and risk taking? Are there ways to honor students' linguistic and cultural identities? And then predictable structures, routines that reduce anxiety because then they know exactly what they need to do. And let's connect self-awareness to our broader personal and professional context. And here are our key takeaways. Key takeaways for 2026. Uh, Accessible wellness routines. What that means is that you learn practical strategies that you can implement instantly to handle those difficult and aggressive moments, and that you are fully equipped with the knowledge, the skills, and the strategies and tools to handle those because teaching is a high pressure job. And there are many high pressure jobs that people deal with. We have tools for connection and we have a renewed purpose. Why are we doing this? This is our why. And then all of this is founded in research in how we handle difficulties. You see, you don't have to choose between your well-being and your students' well-being. It's not either or. Joy and awareness is that when you prioritize restoration and resilience for yourself, you create the conditions for both your well-being and student success to flourish. As we move into 2026, may you carry renewed energy, authentic purpose, and sustainable joy in your essential work with multilingual learners or whatever it is that you do. So let's end with one word. Share one word that captures what you're taking with you from today's session or what you're committing to cultivate this semester. Listen for the words shared around you. Notice the collective wisdom and commitment in this room. And put it in the chat, please. And if you are listening to this later on, comment and share what that one word is. This is a circle of love. Una comunidad de cariño. Ah, grateful. Love it. Peaceful. Thank you. Restored. Ah, thank you. I appreciate you sharing your words in the chat. Um, I am Dr. Delphina JOYce. I'm an educator, speaker, and a certified joy mindset practitioner dedicated to strengthening well-being. And thank you for your commitment to this work, to your own well-being, because individuals who care for themselves are the ones who can continue showing up fully for the students who need them most. And let's return back to the AZTESOL because this is an AZTESOL professional development. And we're going to be moving back over to that and end with the opportunity for your professional development. So I want to return back to AZTESOL. And AZTESOL supports Arizona teachers of English students. And here's some of the benefits that we have if you are an AZTESOL member. We have professional networking, we have access to resources, the advocacy voice, we have a chair, we go to Washington, D.C. To meet with our legislators, and we also engage in working with our representatives in our community, and we have professional recognition for award scholarships of educators that are celebrating their excellence. So thank you very much for taking part in this AZTESOL professional development. Please share your feedback for the professional development. When AZTESOL receives your professional development from the feedback that you submit, you will receive a certificate for your participation. And here is the QR code that you can scan. If you'd like to get involved with Arizona Teachers of English to Speakers of Other Languages, which is our AZTESOL, we have volunteer opportunities, and we would love for you to make an impact with the organization. And we welcome your voice and we welcome your leadership. If you'd like to look at joining the AZTESOL board, you are welcome to contact us at secretaryaztsol@gmail.com. And follow us and connect with us so that we can grow our community and we can support each other in a very holistic and wellness way. We appreciate your referrals and thank you for your time and your energy. Take care and have a beautifully blessed day.